Hey there! Welcome to the weekend recap, the last one of November 2020. We are almost finished 2020, guys. One more month. And before we get into everything, first of all, a big congrats to Al Ahly for winning the CAF Champions League against Zamalek. I think the football gods flicked the switch for bangers only in that match. What a game. That was their 9th title. They have almost double than second place Zamalek. And second of all, let's throw to editor Adrian. Let's throw to contest winner announcing Adrian to see who the two lucky winners of the Rabona Sporting Club merch giveaway were. Take it away. A contest announcement winning Adrian. Two winners unpicked. Let's draw winners. Let's go. And the winners are... Drumroll, please. Drawing. It is... Pavel Ionita and João Pedro Rebelo. Congrats, guys. I'll be in touch soon to set up the shipment of your prizes. But since I feel bad for not being able to give away some merch to everyone, if you missed out, then you can use the discount code SORRY for 20% off in my store at rabonatv.com/shop to grab some merch for yourself. Sorry is the code, and I am sorry that not everyone could win. Remember midweek when Manchester City played fairly well against Olympiacos and all that was lacking in their game was the finishing? Well, they certainly addressed that when playing against Burnley at the Etihad. Diaz and Stones looked solid together. Perhaps not Diaz's best performance ever, but they got the job done. Garcia coming on, didn't look overly confident out there, and calls for a sale will come a little bit faster now, I think, from City fans. Sort of seems like the rhetoric around him has shifted from really wanting to hang on to him to being like, let the guy go. Sorry, had to adjust the lights there. Sorry again. So Canadian. But in the attack, Riyad Mahrez put in one of those performances. He can be oh so frustrating at times, but he's such a gifted talent when it goes right. He feels unplayable. He grabbed a hat trick. De Bruyne set up a couple of goals. My guy Phil Foden with an assist as soon as he came onto the pitch. Ferran Torres and Mendy with the other goals. Great day for City. Wasn't such a great day for Liverpool, as once again they had 2 goals called back for offside against Brighton. One was extremely obvious, the other a little less so. A couple of those with the late penalty that gave Brighton the equalizer, and it was overall a frustrating day for them. First, there was Salah's goal that was called off in the 35th minute for a part of his toe being offside, basically. This stuff is the frustrating stuff, isn't it? As I've said in the past, they need to create some sort of threshold, a reasonable threshold when it comes to offside. Is there an advantage for the forward if his baby toe is offside, or their armpit, or the tip of their nose? I'm not sure, and it's a real enjoyment killer for everyone to call those goals back. It's working in the wrong direction, basically. Did Mane have an advantage for his goal that was called back? Yes, quite clearly. I don't think anyone would argue with that. That's a good employment of VAR. But for goals such as Salah's, I mean, you hate to see us being football fans of any team, affected by VAR, getting robbed of goals in this sport for margins like that one. 1-1 the final there. Everton tried to win 2 Premier League matches consecutively with their match against Leeds this weekend, something they haven't managed since the end of September/early October. And once again, well, first things first. Once again, we have to give credit to Bielsa's Leeds as they played another fantastic match, creating tons of chances for themselves and generally completely outplaying Everton in their own ground. A big achievement. But Everton again looked less than convincing at times in this match. Unfortunate for them to have a goal of their own called back for offside. More on the obvious side in comparison to Salah's. James continues to show he's gifted, but they just give up too many opportunities to their opponents in the defense, especially when playing against a team like Leeds that are pretty damn good at chance generation. Eventually that hurt them in the 79th minute as Harrison scored to Rafinha, and the Brazilians' long-range strike made it past Pickford. 1-0 Leeds. Everton have 1 victory in their last 6 matches. Leeds have 2 in their last 6 matches, so on pretty even form currently. Poor Sheffield United. You'd hate to see them sack Chris Wilder, and I truly hope that they don't, as Sheffield lost another match, this time against West Brom, who are improving all the time it seems, as Sheffield fell 1-0, another 1-goal margin, with chance after chance for Sheffield in this one, and again they cannot score goals. Their offense is really dreadful at the moment. And I know that people don't love the expected goals statistic, but I find with Sheffield, it can be enlightening. And in this match, they had an expected goals of 3.66 against West Brom, almost 4. West Brom's XG was less than half of that at 1.72. That's how it's going for the Blades currently. The big match of the weekend was, of course, Mourinho versus Lampard, Spurs versus Chelsea, first versus third, and unfortunately for all of us, it didn't really deliver. how we wanted it to, did it? Bergwijn and Werner each had great opportunities, the latter having a goal called back. A draw was enough for Spurs to stay top of the table for the time being. 0-0 there. Just look at how good their defense has been, though. That's where the biggest steps have been made for this team. 9 goals conceded in 10 matches. Arsenal lost again. At least they scored a goal, though, via the Brazilian connection, Willian setting up Gabriel. But Arsenal's goal was sandwiched between 2 goals for Wolves, but goals from Portuguese players in Daniel Podence and Pedro Neto. 2-1 Wolves. And finally, United going away to Ralph Hasenhutl's Southampton, and this was the definition of a game of 2 halves, extremely entertaining, 5 goals in this one. After 45 minutes, United looked terrible, and Southampton were deserving 2-0 leaders. The first scored from a corner, and the second being a lovely James Ward-Prowse free kick from an acute angle that beat De Gea. But in the second half, with Cavani entering the pitch, everyone on United that looked pedestrian in the first half suddenly looked like they had the hunger to win. The attitude of both Bruno and Cavani was infectious, and those two left their mark on this one. First, Cavani playing setup man as he clipped across in that Bruno took down well and converted. Then Cavani scoring 2 diving headers himself to equalize and then win the match for United right at the death. Big credit to Cavani, natural finisher, natural poacher, brilliant to watch when he's playing like that. And a credit to Solskjaer, who no doubt had to give him a bit of the old hairdryer at halftime. Is it sacrilege to say that? You know, out of respect for Sir Alex Ferguson. And so after 10 matches played, Tottenham and Liverpool are on 21 apiece. Chelsea are in 3rd. Aston Villa has 2 matches in hand, and if they were to win them, they would be right up there with the leaders. United's win takes them up to 8th now. City have also broken into the top 10. Some wild results this weekend, and one of them cropped up when Real Madrid took on Deportivo Alaves at home, a team that Real Madrid typically beats with relative ease. I mean, in their previous 6 meetings, Real had lost just once, but as per their up and down form as of late, they fell to Alaves 2-1. Again, no Sergio Ramos and Benzema, but arguably their most important player in Casemiro was on the pitch from the start, and he looked like the only really effective player out there, really. I mean, Eden Hazard isn't at that point where he is making enough of a difference for Real Madrid. And I mean, him going off in the 28 minutes that he played with an injury just adds further misfortune to his Real Madrid tenure and is sort of an encapsulation of how it's gone so far. Goals again are an issue for Real Madrid, and it's not as if their defense is very strong to boot. So Zidane with some rough waters to navigate yet. Their crosstown rivals, Atletico, went to the Mestalla, and despite Simeone leaving both João Felix and Yannick Carrasco on the bench, 2 very influential players in their attack lately. And with Suarez still unavailable, they came out on top in a match that they dominated, really. And you know what was the most heartwarming thing to me? Seeing Thomas Lemar, first of all, start, and then also have a really good match. Was this vintage Thomas Lemar from his days at AS Monaco? No, not as good as what he was then. But comparatively to his tenure at Atletico, this was a great Thomas Lemar. And I think in a broader sense, seeing all these attacking players come into form at Atletico really illustrates just how this was the final piece that was missing in Simeone's team from last season. For whatever reason, it didn't work out with Morata. Now Morata is playing some of the best football I've seen from him at Juve, so it's been mutually beneficial for both him and Atletico. 1-0 win for Atletico Madrid. Following Barcelona's big win over Dynamo Kiev, they beat up on Osasuna on Sunday. Martin Braithwaite got the start, and Martin Braithwaite opened the scoring in the 29th minute. This was a game of the, I won't say the failed players, but the, how about the chronically underperforming and underplayed players in some cases? Getting theirs, basically. Griezmann scored a delicious volley, powered it past the keeper. Then he set up Philippe Coutinho in the second half. Trincão came on in the 61st minute, had a goal disallowed, and then set up Lionel Messi. By the way, a lovely tribute from Lionel Messi. Upon scoring, he revealed a Maradona kit underneath his Barca shirt with Diego's number 10 on it. An original that Maradona himself played in. Lovely. A lovely performance from Barcelona on the club's birthday. Happy 121 years to get the win. And like I said, 8 goals in 2 matches? That's more like it, Barca. Another bit of misfortune for Barcelona, though, defensively, in this case, as Clément Lenglet went off with an injury to his right knee. Another defender out, looking like a few weeks as well. Sevilla's fine form has continued as they went away to Huesca and grabbed a win. Huesca, one of the very early contenders to go down, as they are winless from their opening 11 matches after Sevilla won 1-0. Came late again, and it also came from Youssef En-Nesyri. This is the guy that I backed back in June. That's more like it. He cannot stop scoring for Sevilla at this point. You love to see it. I backed him in June, saying this guy is it. He's playing so well. He's a very exciting talent. And then he just started stinking it up for a good few months. Now he's back. And now the big one, boys and girls. If you told me a few years ago that this would have been the big one, I would have laughed at you. But Real Sociedad hosting Villarreal, and it was a game of a few big chances as these two very good sides effectively canceled each other out. Sociedad maybe just edged it in the chance department, but both goals came from the penalty spot, one apiece in the first half. And that's how it ended, 1-1. Good spell of pressure from Villarreal towards the end, but not much for Ramiro to worry about. Would have loved to have seen Januzaj and Isaac on the pitch a bit earlier for Sociedad. Well, Emery has Villarreal extremely well organized, so happy for this guy. Happy for this much memed man. The draw ensures each side held onto the places they had coming into this match day. Sociedad in first, Villarreal in third, Atletico in second, but with 2 matches in hand still. Real Madrid dropping away from first. Barcelona climbing up to 7th though. Those funny results I was talking about were mostly concentrated in Spain, Italy, and Germany. And one of the German results that got me hitting the Ancelotti eyebrow, you know, the Dortmund versus FC Köln, had me doing the Ancelotti man. Köln, a team that hadn't won a Bundesliga match prior to playing Borussia Dortmund since about March, go on and beat Borussia Dortmund 2-1 in Dortmund. This Dortmund team that had looked so convincing of late, it's a wild match, but it's the reality of Dortmund these years. I was going to say the reality of Dortmund under Lucien Favre, but it's just the reality of Borussia Dortmund since Klopp, really. Well, their first year under Thomas Tuchel was great, to be fair. A brace from Köln's Skiri. So happy for them. Let's hope that they can turn things around now. Let's hope this is a pivot point for them. It gives them confidence going forward because they look great in early 2020. Bayern Munich beat Stuttgart 3-1 in a well-fought, quite even match, really. Stuttgart were unfortunate to not take a 2-1 lead in the first half and ended up going into halftime 2-1 down, thanks to Lewandowski's 12th goal of the season, 12 goals in 8 appearances. Not too bad. The guy isn't slowing down. Also, Kingsley Coman continues to be not too bad at all himself, as he scored the opener and set up Lewandowski and Leroy Sané. He came on for the last 20 minutes or so, once again, wonder how happy he is there. And once again, he played a part as he set up fellow substitute Douglas Costa to elevate the score to 3-1. A solid win for Bayern in a very difficult match. 3-1 doesn't really tell the whole story of the match here. RB Leipzig got a 2-1 victory over Arminia Bielefeld thanks to their solid 60 minutes of play in which they scored 2 goals. Bielefeld put in a very admirable display following that initial 60 and nearly equalized in the final few minutes of the match, but Nagelsmann's boys held on to ensure they're mixing it up still at the top of the Bundesliga table. VfL Wolfsburg are on fire right now, and they are still yet to lose a match during this Bundesliga season. This weekend, they beat Werder Bremen 5-3. Big match. We were really treated to a lot of goals in Germany. Wout Weghorst scored what was the winner in the 76th minute, his 2nd of the match and 6th of the season. Good scoring record for the Dutchman so far. More goals, you say, from the teams you love right now? And by that I mean a classic fan-owned and run team like Union Berlin that has a place in my heart also. They played host to Eintracht Frankfurt and took a 2-0 lead over Frankfurt after just 6 minutes. Insane. But then a double from Andre Silva put the teams level at the half, and Bas Dost will have thought that he had won the match for Frankfurt in the 79th minute. By the way, Daichi Kamada's 2nd assist of the match for Dost's goal, but the Japanese international has 5 in total in this Bundesliga season. So Dost would have been thinking, finally, we got it, boys. We're in. It wasn't, though. Another late goal conceded. Leverkusen failed to make it 6 wins in a row as they were held to a 0-0 draw with Hertha Berlin. And yes, Borussia Mönchengladbach got a big win in Germany up against the team that is continuing to crumble on and off the pitch. FC Schalke 04. Endless problems at the club. They just canceled the contract of Vedad Ibisevic last week, I believe, as well as suspending 2 of their own players. Madness. But anyways, Gladbach, with their great form continuing, goals from Wolf, Thuram, Wendt, and Neuhaus. And that win keeps Gladbach right on the tail of Union Berlin. Love to see Union up there. Wolfsburg and Dortmund. Bayern are, of course, at the top, with Leipzig and Leverkusen close behind. And in Italy, remember how I said that Juve is starting to take shape under Andrea Pirlo? Well, after their laborious performance versus Ferencvárosi midweek, they had a hell of a time against Benevento this weekend. Now, we gotta remember something here. This isn't the same Benevento that was basically stuck on auto loss last time they were in the Serie A. This is a much better Benevento, but you'd still hope that Juve would come away with the W. No Ronaldo in this one, not even on the bench, but that man Morata grabbed a good goal, an early, fantastic finish, and overall I also thought that Paulo Dybala's play was much better, except for his finishing. He nearly doubled Juve's lead on 25 minutes. But man, if not for Szczesny, Benevento would have equalized much earlier, but the equalizer was a nice one. A low strike along the ground, in off of the post, just like Morata's went in off the post. 1-1 the final. Oh, and Juve will be without Morata in their next match, as he said something to the referee after the final whistle and got himself a red card. Absolutely the smoothest of moves. Good one. Come on, guy. Inter versus Sassuolo, a match I was really looking forward to, given how much Sassuolo has improved in defense in order to complement their great counter-attacking football. And you know what? It was actually Inter. It was Inter that I really enjoyed watching in this one. They looked pretty good. Certainly the best I've seen them in a while, because they've been painful to watch at times. And they sort of flipped the script on Sassuolo. They sat a little deeper. Their two midfielders weren't roaming as far as they were against Real Madrid. At least someone was staying back. And they made Sassuolo play with the ball so that Inter could attack in transition. That's how they scored their first, with Lautaro winning the ball and getting played through. And from a scramble, he squared for Sanchez to roll it in. Their second was pretty comical. A ball driven across the box from Vidal, just looking for it to take a touch off of anyone, and it did, off of Chiriches and in. Not highlight reel worthy, but hey, 2-0 lead away to Sassuolo. Take it, man. Juricic, former Benfica boy actually, for a hot minute at least. He hit the post for Sassuolo in the first half, and that was probably the closest that Sassuolo came in this one. Later in the second, Gagliardini grabbed a third, a stunning third for Inter, 3-0. That's emphatic against Sassuolo. Atalanta, of course, followed up their great 2-0 away win to Liverpool with a 2-0 loss at home against Hellas Verona. Are they tired or something? They weren't really missing anyone besides Gosens, I guess. This was one of those funny results I was talking about. How about another funny one? Lazio hosting Udinese, and the visiting Bianconeri from Udine won 3-1 against Lazio. They led 3-0 at one point until Ciro converted a penalty, his fifth goal in 7 appearances. Milan had a tough matchup against Fiorentina, which despite the 2-0 scoreline was a much closer match than that. That makes for 21 Serie A matches, unbeaten for Milan by the way, and 2 wins from 2 for Daniele Bonera, as Stefano Pioli is still isolating himself. Franck Kessié was fantastic in this one, becoming one of my favorite midfielders to watch these days. No? Well, he partners Sandro Tonali out there, and Kessié was on fire, man, converting a penalty, setting up Alessio Romagnoli's opener, having another penalty saved. We'll look past that. And finally, with Napoli donning a special kit that resembled Argentina's national strip, they paid tribute to Diego Maradona in a way that makes your heart sing. A big 4-0 win over AS Roma, a strong AS Roma, as Napoli truly asserted their dominance. Things were looking rosy for Roma, with Mkhitaryan flying in their ranks, but they never showed up in this match. Napoli were a team possessed, and while Roma had their moments, they never carved anything truly meaningful out from those moments. Deserved win for Napoli, 4-0. That win moved Napoli up to 5th place, level on points with Juve and Roma, just 1 behind Sassuolo and Inter. And look at Milan, 9 matches in, 7 wins, 2 draws, 1st place, and deserving a first by all accounts. And this edition of the Weekend Recap, by all accounts, is finished. My name is Adrian, I'm glad you joined me, and congrats to the winners. Don't forget to use the code SORRY if you didn't win and you still want to support the channel by buying some merch. Thanks so much, you guys. I love ya, and I'll see you this week for some watching along. Ciao.